All right, so we are on, right? 7:01. Could call the meeting to order, and if we could do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
Allegiance to
to
the
the
flag of the United States of America
and
and
to
to the
the
republic
republic
for which it
which
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty,
liberty,
justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
Hey everyone, good evening and welcome tonight, monthly Board of Ed meeting. Hopefully this is the last one that we have virtually. It's the intention of the board to meet next month in person, following, of course, the safety precautions and guidance. We'll keep that in place. But again, hopefully we will all be meeting at Fayette for the May meeting. We have a big night tonight. Mr. McDade is going to present our 2021-2022 budget. And before that happens, I'd just like to thank Tom, Mr. McDade, Dr. Siniak, and all of administration on their hard work, the board, on behalf of the board. Everyone appreciates it. It was a lot of work, especially during the past few months when really uncertain times. We didn't know what state aid we were going to get in, if any, what cuts we were going to get. So I want to commend, before anything or any actions taken, just want to commend the staff, the administration, for doing a great job. And Mr. McDade, I think you did it's a great budget. Dr. Siniak, great, work. With that being said, I don't want to take too much time because you have a presentation. So I'd like to turn over to you, Mr. McDade, to present the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ryan. So first of all, thank you for the kind words, but I also want to say my kind words myself to the Budget Committee for being part of this with us, helping us out through the whole process. The administration, the staff, everyone has come together on this one because it's been difficult times. I've been saying every year, each year it's harder and harder to do the budget. So thank you for everyone for the time and effort. And we're going to now show the presentation. So give me a second as I share my screen. All right, so this is the budget adoption for this new year. The good news is that people that have been watching the presentations and taking part in everything, not much has changed from anything. What we've presented in the capital portion, the administration portion, as well as the revenue and program pretty much have stayed the same, which is a good thing. So what does this all entail? Well, we're still at the 1.56% levy to levy increase. As you're going to see, there's a dollar difference between what the levy maximum allowable is and the proposed level is a dollar difference. One of the reasons when I did the formulas, they rounded up in a certain area what I didn't think we should have rounded up. And what happens in the situation, I'd hate to see when we're audited down the line that they say that we're actually over $1 for it. So I thought it was safer to stick with the number that I had, which is $1 less than the maximum allowable levy. And what this basically means is we go out to vote and all we need is 50% plus one vote more. But the important thing is the 1.56% levy. What does it represent? This is actually not only the third lowest levy in the past 15 years, but it's the fifth time in over 8 years that the levy has come in under 2%. So, we've been doing, once again, a lot more with less each year and year out. So let's look at the revenue first. The revenue has basically stayed the same with the levy and stuff, with the exception of the state aid. I'm happy to inform you that the state aid increase is going to be $376,000 over last year, but we've received an additional $325,000 this past go around from the executive order in regard to foundation aid. And one of the things that's important to know is what are we doing with that extra $325,000? Well, what's going to happen is we're going to be lowering the appropriated fund balance. And what the appropriated fund balance is the money that's saved each year from the budget that gets carried over to help support the budget the next year. As you're aware, the reserve plan that we have online that the board adopts each year, we go through all the different reserves and everything that we have, and we say what our plans are. Our plan since I've been here has been to lower that to zero. Because as you know, over the past 3 years specifically, it's been harder and harder to actually save money to refund the reserves. So what happens is next year, when we start the year out, we only have to come up with an additional $343,000 at the end of the year before we can start funding reserves. Because like I said before, not only does this help us fund the reserves for next year, but also for this year, we got hit hard with COVID expenses, as we've said meeting after meeting. And what this extra money is going to help us do is actually bring us up to the 4% fund balance. At this time, before doing this, we would actually be below the 4% fund balance that we would have in reserve for next year. So this helps the district not only today, but it also helps us in the future because it continues and helps us get on our financial path to where we want to be. So what does all this mean? Well, this means that the budget increase by taking all that revenue is going to be a 1.42% increase. The good news is everything we've discussed over the past 2 meetings and all the meetings during the day, nothing's changed. The administrative portion, the capital portion, and the program portion have basically all stayed the same, give or take $1 or $2 here or there. So once again, what is the administrative portion of it? The administrative portion is all the Board of Education, the administration, the financial, and things along those lines. That is going to represent 13% of the budget. The capital portion, which I just want to go over real quick, hasn't changed at all either from our presentation. But one of the important things to know is this also includes the transfer to capital, which we've been doing for the past couple of years of $145,000. Well, what does that represent? Well, the board has decided over the past couple of years to basically expand the cooling centers in each of the 3 school buildings. So what it meant was last year was the beginning process of it to be able to do the Fayette Gym, also do the cafeteria in Camp Avenue, as well as the Old Mill Road cafeteria. That's one of the main things, and that represents about 13% of the budget. The program portion is maybe only $1 difference from what we talked about the last time, and that represents 73% of the program. And what that basically is, that's all the teaching staff, the instructional staff, transportation, co-curricular activities, and the transfer to special ed. That's what that represents, 73%. One of the questions that came up during the budget presentations that we had was how is the budget actually broken down outside of the 3-part component? So what this next slide shows is, and this is important to know, salaries and benefits in the budget represent 80% of the entire budget. So what does that mean? That's about 24 million of the, that leaves us with about 7 million outside of salary and benefits for the rest of the budget. And what is the rest of the budget outside of salary and benefits? That's all the contract services, that's all the heating, the oil, the bond, the debt service, and things along those lines. So when we're trying to reduce the budget each year to make it tighter and tighter, there's not much of the pie left outside of, when you see here, salary and benefits. So I thought that was important for everyone to see because it's a question that always comes up each year. So what does that represent, the 1.42% budget-to-budget increase? Well, it's only a $486,000 increase over last year. And what's interesting, when I went back and I looked, the percentage, it's the second lowest in over 30 years. And if you go back for the dollar amount, it's this, the second lowest in over 27 years. And that's remarkable when you think that the budget themselves year in, year out are going over higher and higher each year. And to think that it's still, the dollar amount is still lower than almost any year in over 27 years. So once again, I like this slide because it shows the Board of Education and the district continues to do more with less. Now, the part that I hate, what happens if the budget does not pass? Well, there's 3 things that we have to do. We can do one of the 3 things. 1, resubmit a defeated budget that goes up for the following month later. It can be the same budget, it can be a different budget. We can also adopt the contingent budget. What is the contingent budget if the budget fails? Well, the contingent budget basically is a 0% increase in the levy over the year before. Well, what is that? Well, that would mean from the budget that we just went through real quick, we would have to cut an additional $374,000 from that budget. And as people, the professionals have been on these presentations with me time and time again, it's the same things. You've seen this slide before. What has to be cut first? The state tells us certain things that are required to be cut. The first thing is the capital funds, the equipment, maintenance projects, supplies, and things along those lines. So there's certain guidelines that we must do with that. Elimination of non-required subject classes to get down to that 374 number. Now, there's going to be another proposition that I want to discuss real quick for next year, and that is going to be a capital to use the capital reserve fund. As you're aware, voters approved back in 2015 a capital reserve that has about 1.2 million in it currently. Well, as we've been talking about, the past couple of years, it's been harder and harder to fund the reserves that we've been using to fund the budget. So what we're requesting the taxpayers at no additional cost to them is to take 1.1 of that savings account for the capital and put it into the other savings accounts for the retirement contribution, the ERS, which is the employee retirement system, as well as the EBLR account, which is the employee benefits accrued liability account. By doing this, it also will help the district financially in the future. You know, a lot of things that we're discussing today, the 325,000 is putting us on the right path to continue with a better financial future. By doing this capital proposition, by reallocating the reserves, also protects the district financially in the future. And one of the last slide I want to talk about is the approved property exemptions. These are the exemptions that are board approved, that if you fall in one of these categories, you're able to get a relief on a certain portion of your taxes, property taxes. And that is volunteer firemen, ambulance workers, senior citizens, persons with disabilities and limited income, veterans also have these exemptions. On the website, we have the forms for you to fill out if you fall in one of these categories. If you have any questions in regard to it, that you don't know whether or not you do fall into it or how to do it, you can just call the office at any time and I can walk you through what needs to be done so you don't miss out on an exemption that the board has approved these individuals to have. And that's the extent of the presentation for this year. Once again, I want to thank everyone for taking part in this, listening to it. A lot of times it's not the funnest thing in the world to listen to when you're just talking about numbers, but I appreciate all the insight and support of the Board of Education as well as the staff. So thank you.
Thank you. Nicely done. And again, I was remiss in not thanking the Budget Committee, of course. So thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Siniak for your monthly comments.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ms. Ryan, and thank you, Mr. McDade, for a wonderful presentation. And yes, thank you to our Budget Committee for their participation. So thank you for sharing your time and watching our budget presentations. Our PTA meetings this month will feature Mr. McDade giving a very similar presentation to the PTA members in case they have any questions. So we look forward to your presence at the PTA meetings this month. Last month, Mrs. Friedman showed the wonderful curriculum and instruction video that we saw last month. So we're taking Mr. McDade on the road this month. Thank you, Mrs. Friedman, and thank you, Mr. McDade. Our Saturday Spanish enrichment program began this past Saturday. We had 27 students enrolled in that program. And at this point, we're running one section of it. If we do have any more children enrolled, we will then split it to two sections. And of course, that's virtual, and we're happy to provide the enrichment during the spring months. Our summer programs are also taking enrollments. We have our Camp Invention, our Scope, our BOCES reading program, our music program, our extended school year program as well. So we plan on having a robust and vibrant summer here in North Merrick. We will be socially distancing the programs in all three of our buildings and adhering to all guidelines set forth by the Department of Health as well. Graduations, rest assured, we are planning various models. We received guidance from the New York State Department of Health late yesterday, and we are working through that guidance, and more to come on the graduations and the kindergarten moving up. But we're looking pretty much at a hybrid model, not a full virtual, but not a traditional graduation based on the mandates and the restrictions. So we're looking to do something in person, more by a class type of a schedule, but more to come on that. Our new regs, as for the physical environment of the schools, we received those over the weekend as well. There have been some updates to the local guidance, and we have to take a look at what that guidance is saying specifically and how it affects our North Merrick classrooms and our schools. We will be convening our reopening committee sometime next week to discuss how this guidance is affecting us, as well as I am attending a webinar tomorrow with the New York State Department of Health to gain more clarification on these guidelines. Our attorneys are also giving us clarification, and superintendents across the county are speaking about it. So look forward to meeting with the reopening committee and working through this to make sure that we are adhering and providing the best instructional environments for our students. playground at Fayette, Mr. Carter will be speaking about the upgrade. We just completed an upgrade, fixing something, a playground piece of equipment at Old Mill Road over the break. A big shout out to Mr. Carter's team because they handled it so beautifully over the break, and the playground is up and running now for those children. And we will be planning a similar thing for one of our Fayette playgrounds, and Mr. Carter will share that when he speaks. And that's all I have this evening, and hope that everyone enjoyed their spring break. Looking forward to warmer months and warmer days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. If we can have a motion to approve the routine approvals of the minutes, the approval of warrants, wires, budget transfers, and the approval of the treasury reports 4A, 4B, and 4C.
Motion. Make the motion.
Motion by Michelle Gordon, second.
I'll second it.
Miller, all in favor? Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? No, it's unanimous, so carries. Thank you. Public comment, we're doing via email, hopefully for the last time, pursuant to, as it's indicated in the listed agenda. I'm going to spare you from reading the paragraph for the 13th time, I think. So are there any public comments, Ms. Long?
There were no public
Okay.
comments.
Nothing,
No
okay.
public comments.
Great. And then moving along to our board business tonight. And again, thank you. I think it was a great budget presentation. And I also want to commend how accessible you are, Tom and Dr. Siniak, to the public. So thank you for that. And if we could have a motion to approve 6A through 6M, and that includes adopting the budget 6A through 6M.
Motion.
Motion
Second.
by Vincent Lentini, second by Michelle Gordon. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. Unanimously carries. Thank you. A motion to approve 7A, the personnel actions report. Motion to approve
Motion.
7A by Ms. Miller. Second
Steve.
Second.
by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. 8A, B, and C. We have a motion to approve our special services tonight.
Motion.
Motion by Vincent Lentini, second by
Second.
Second.
Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion unanimously carries. And then we have two policies that are mandated that we adopt tonight, 9A and 9B as listed in our agenda. We have a motion to approve these policies.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Miller, seconded
Second.
by Vincent. All in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? No. All right, motion, the policies pass. And moving along to report of the committees, high school report. Is it going to be Tracy or Ed tonight, or both?
No,
It's Ed. All right, Mr. Corona.
Oh, okay, how you doing, everybody? Okay, so we had our meeting last Wednesday, and a quick synopsis. The let's see, we had Nassau County bowling champions, okay, from Meckham High School. We were talking about.
And it was a combined team of Calhoun and Mepham.
All right, Calhoun and
Sorry.
Meckham, thank you. We're county champions in an abbreviated fall season. Working on graduation and proms. The talks are in place there to hold some kind of meaningful event for graduation and proms. Not sure how it's going to look just yet. Like other districts, the Central High School District did receive some additional money, about $2.5 million in foundation aid and about $1 million in and we'll be working next week to finally adopt our budget and how that will impact it. Next week ends the air quotes fall season for sports, and the spring season begins next week as well. And that would be lacrosse, baseball, softball, track and field. So those are the sports that will begin next week, and that's the spring season, and that will go until about June 19th. So we'll get all of our 3 seasons in at the high school level in half a year this year. And that's all I have for the high school.
Great, thank you. PTA District Council.
Yep.
Ed, you're up.
Okay, great. So the The council meeting highlights, we have at Fayette, they have a virtual basket raffle this week. Their school supply sale is on right now, and also with Spiritware. Their next meeting is tomorrow, April 14th at 7 p.m. Camp Avenue has a Earth Day essay contest right now called Where Does the Garbage Go? And that's due by April 22nd. Teacher Staff Appreciation Week is May 3rd to 7th. There's also going to be a virtual talent show on May 21st. And their next meeting is April 28th. Old Mill Road, Mother's Day plant sale is ongoing. The pickup is going to be the Friday before Mother's Day. Spiritware and Recycle Sneakers are current fundraisers. And there's going to be an extreme science presentation, and that's going to be a virtual assembly. SEPTA is holding a Build-A-Bear program, and they got 60 participants, and that's quite a lot, and they're very happy with that. They also had a very successful Easter Bunny Drive just recently. Upcoming events, we have the Fayette Kindergarten Orientation, April 29th, and Meet the Candidates Night on May 5th. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Very nicely done. Thank you. Mr. Carter, Buildings and Grounds report.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we took advantage over the break to do things that we can't do on a normal routine basis with people in the building. So throughout the district, we took the opportunity to clean and scrub the bathrooms because there's just so much use, and the environment we're in, you can't have them clean enough. So they scrubbed from top to bottom all the bathrooms throughout the district. We cleaned all the desk shields, another thing that's very difficult to do throughout the school week under normal routine situations, and then buffed the floors on the final day on the way out. So when everybody came back, it looked good. Also, some other opportunities, other items we took opportunities to take care of was we repaired a floor at Camp Avenue. It was very badly cracked, and it just kept getting worse. It was one of those things they took up a few tiles and then a few more and then a few more. And before you knew it, we did about 40% of the classroom. But it came out great, looks amazing. And, those are the times that we can do those things. At Fayette, we were able to get down the sensory path. Perhaps Ms. Friedman could speak to how the sensory path came to be. I hate to put you on the spot. I know it was a grant, and we want to give props to the faculty that got that grant, but our guys were able to put it down on the second floor of HDF, which is super. The kids love it.
Sure.
Ms. Friedman?
Sure. Actually, it was modeled after the sensory path at Old Mill Road. I happen to teach at Long Island University CW Post in their administration and supervision program. And one of my students actually is a teacher at the Fayette School. And one of the assignments that the students have in my class is to do a mock grant that the Jovia Credit Union makes available for $500. After the students complete this mock grant, I tell them that actually, should they wish to, they could actually submit it. Amanda Hosevar, who is a speech and language teacher at the Harold D. Fayette School, actually submitted the grant. And they honored the grant with a $500 award, actually. So, and of course, she got an A on the paper in my class. So I was very, very excited. And I tell my students, by the way, across the board, that I have absolutely no affiliation with Jovia, but over the years, they have been very, very generous to us. Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Of course, of course. So that was really cool. Our role was to lay it out with the principals and the people involved. And over the break, we stripped the floor and got lots of wax on top of it so it stays there. Also, like Dr. Seniak mentioned in the beginning, the Old Mill Playground, finally we got that slide in. We were able to get it installed. And then after that, we topped it off with some more wood fiber. Just so it would be clean on top. The fiber gets chewed up a little bit when you're running the Bobcat, the machinery in and out, but it looks great. I tried to match the old one as much as possible, so it looks great. It's a three slide unit, and And I'm glad it's back so that the kids can enjoy it as the weather gets nice. Throughout the district, we've been aerating and seeding the floors. The floors, I'm sorry, the fields. We're aerating and seeding the fields. And my mind was on the next thing I was going to say, which much to the chagrin of the custodians, because the kids run around on the aerated fields and then they bring dirt in every day. So yeah, the custodial unit loves that when that takes place on the fields. We also painted lines at the HDF parking lot, because when are we in when that's not full? And the HDF playground, we're going to do a similar. We have a damaged piece of playground equipment there, and again, the problem is replacing it. So we couldn't replace it. So I've been working with the manufacturer to replace it, not exactly as it was, but with some newer types of. It's called a lily pad, where the kids will be able to jump. But that's neither here nor there. We will be getting those parts and hopefully getting that installed in the summer. I don't want to start construction just as the weather's getting nice and have, the kids are all out there staring at us tearing up their playground. So we're gonna just let them let it run out until the summer, and then we'll get it taken care of then. And that's about the extent of what we've been doing over the break, and then normal scrubbing and cleaning and disinfecting and all that good stuff.
That's it?
That's it. Just,
Looking forward to seeing the lily pad.
it was a pretty cushy break.
Any communications received, Ms. Funk?
Yes, we
Ms.
received
Warner.
one communication, and it was regarding the condition of the playground.
And I think Mr. Carter just addressed that, right?
I hope that's what the gentleman was speaking about. It is a part that's missing. It's obvious because we saved it off. So to that person, we will be taking care of that as soon as we can.
Okay, thank you. Any items for discussion under unfinished business tonight? I think we got a lot done with budgets. That's good. New business items up for discussion. No, so on that note, I hope everyone has a great night, and we see you in person with masks in May. So have a good night, and I guess a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Michelle Gordon.
I'll second it.
We all second that. Have a great night.
Good night.
Have a great night.
Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.